So today I've got a deck that makes for some amazing finishes, winning through removal and board stalls, with one very special game-winning card to see you through to victory. Hey everyone, Hex here, and today I'm playing with some of my favourite cards in my favourite tribe, with a deck I've been ripping up the ladder with today. That's all because of a sweet new vampire in Veinripper. Veinripper is a 6-drop flying 6/5 vampire assassin with ward, sacrifice a creature, and whenever any creature dies, you drain your opponent for 2 life. It's just too good in the face of board stalls, board wipes, and control games. Your opponent needs a creature just to even kill it, but even that will probably trigger the Ripper twice. Pair it with Roaming Throne or Bloodletter of Aclazotz, and you are doing some serious damage when any creature dies, and in this meta, a lot of creatures are dying everywhere. As we're Vampire Tribal, I've got Markov Baron as a Lord effect, Preacher of the Schism for card draw and to make tokens, and Vraan for even more incremental life loss. Don't forget, with Roaming Throne adding extra triggers and the Bloodletter adding extra damage, your opponent's life will dwindle very quickly. I'm using Case of the Stashed Skeleton and Beseech the Mirror to find our threats. Incidentally, Beseech can sacrifice the skeleton and tutor a card, but this will always solve the case, meaning you can search for a second card the following turn with your enchantment. I've got Sorin to make some tokens to attack with, then sacrifice with Corrupted Conviction or a Candy Grapple to help with your life drain effects. Go for the throw and the end for removal, with Henrika as another annoying creature for your opponent to deal with, but invariably able to make an opponent sacrifice a creature they have. 25 lands, and that's the deck. Who doesn't love value oozing out of every play, and with Veinripper on the battlefield, I found it very hard to not win at that point. Just a 6-power flyer rumbling through each turn is normally enough to win, but the life loss your opponents incur by blocking or you blocking their creatures is what really makes this card unstoppable. But for 6 mana, it should be good though, right? Enough from me though, I want to know what your favourite tribes are. I do love making tribal decks with big finishers, and I'm keen to play more. Drop your ideas in the comments below. Don't forget to smash that subscribe button if you haven't, then go ahead and give us a like. Your support means the world to this channel, and I'll catch you again in the next video. Alright, on the play, with a very keepable hand, I do like the Case of the Stashed Skeleton, creating a skeleton that you can then Candy Grapple away to enable a very early tutor for whatever threats you are dealing with. Opponent is on a Rakdos deck, it looks like. And Cut Down takes care of our skeleton, so although we can't bargain it away with the Candy Grapple, it does solve our case. Get the Preacher onto the battlefield as well. And then we can start attacking the opponent and making some 1/1s. They elect not to do anything, so probably got a removal spell in their hand. So I think we'll just go to attacks. This makes a 1/1 that we can use later as fodder for Candy Grapple. But I think in the meantime, we'll maximise our turn and we will cash in our Case of the Stashed Skeleton. Gonna go for Markov Baron here, because we get to play that here with Convoke. Could have held it back in case the opponent has like a Liliana or something. But got a large threat on the battlefield now with a lot of vampires. But opponent has Brotherhood's End to deal with a couple of our creatures. We do keep the Preacher on the battlefield. Playing the Bloodletter here, attacks the opponent for 4. And they're down to 14. Now, all they've played so far is removal, so I'm not expecting these creatures to survive too much longer, but whilst they're using all of their cards on our creatures, we're gaining enough mana here to hopefully drop this Veinripper soon. And opponent does indeed have a Liliana here. So no 6th mana. I almost beseeched for a land. I've done that before, but I think Roaming Throne naming Vampire here is good enough. Opponent with Shelly. So definitely just a sort of mid-range Rakdos deck leaning heavy on removal. Liliana makes us discard a Candy Grapple, but we can go for the throat there, Shelly, and attack down Lily ourselves. Markov Baron is a nice follow-up play. And don't need to play it right now because we're just attacking Lily, but Markov Baron as a way to boost up your other vampires would put another point of power onto the roaming throne. Opponent with another Shelly here. Okay, well, we'll just draw, see what we do. So we could Veinrip. Veinripper has ward, sacrifice a creature, so they would have to sacrifice this Sheoldred if they have a removal. But we can just Beseech here without bargaining, and we can just go for the throat. Boring play, but we can certainly get 7 damage through here, and the opponent is going to be on 7 life, so they're going to have to do something here. We have a Veinripper as a follow-up play. And it is Bonehoard Dracosaur. I mean, it's not the worst card in the world for them to have. I'm going to go for Veinripper. It's going to cause them a few problems. We don't really have a good attack. Could have Candy Grappled there, bargaining away our roaming throne. But I still think we're going to be okay. They absolutely need to deal with this 7-6 though. Otherwise, the triggers between that and roaming throne are going to be enough to take down our opponent. See what they want to do. Virtue of Persistence to gain 3 life, kill our Markov Baron, but they're going to lose 4 life as well, so net loss of 1 life. Epicure comes down, pings us to 21. And they pass the turn. Well, we can just grapple away their 3-1 here. This does 4 damage to our opponent. We also gain 4 life in the process, and we can attack the opponent. It doesn't matter how they block, they are going to die because creatures are going to die. And we get there with a nice little Veinripper win right at the end against Rakdos. Alright, on the draw here. Very decent sort of hand we've got going on here. Couple of Veinrippers, probably not what we really need. Generally, one of them is absolutely fine. Opponent with a Denic. So that points to an Esper mid-range deck. And I kind of like our chances against that. Opponent with Thalia. Not going to affect us too much, that card. I guess it taxes the Case of the Stash Skeleton we just drew, but we can attack the opponent as our creature is suspected. It has Menace and can't block. Let's say go for the throat there on our creature. So they're already down to just 3 cards, and as long as we keep hitting land drops, we should be golden. Really going to have to play the Markov Baron here just to get a sort of board presence. The other Case of the Stashed Skeleton wouldn't really help too much. So we're ideally looking for a way to sacrifice or bargain away this 2-1 we have on the battlefield. With a Fairy Mastermind, which has Flash. But yeah, we have enough mana here to get a Veinripper down. So I think as long as that survives and doesn't get countered, we should be in a decent shape here. Opponent is attacking with the team though. I am going to block with the Markov Baron purely to save some life. We're going to save 2 damage to our face, and then the Baron's also going to gain us 2 back. Because we're definitely going to be ripping some veins next turn by playing our 6-5. And Bloodletter is going to be amazing. If we can get that to resolve, then I think we can see this game out maybe next turn even. Opponent is activating their Mastermind, and we draw a Swamp. And it is Otawara on our Veinripper here, so they're going to have to sacrifice a creature to do this. And we drain them, but it's just going back to our hand, which isn't the end of the world. Take the opponent down to 16. We're still on 10 life, and we're just going to follow up with a Veinripper next turn. So they've shown us they haven't got a counter spell, unless they've just drawn it. Another Swamp. So let's get this other Veinripper, or let's get this Veinripper back onto the battlefield. And we're in the same situation as we were on last turn. But again, if opponent wants to target our creature, they're going to have to sacrifice one of theirs. And we've got them down to 14, so we're still facing a... Well, we still have lethal next turn with the Bloodletter. Candy Grapple's a nice 2-drop, actually. So it's, do I want to attack? And I think the best answer is yes, we do. We're going to play the Bloodletter of Aclazotz. So this can do double damage. So if this Veinripper connects to the opponent, that is just 12 damage straight up. The 2/2 ones have menace, so this is just a straight up lethal attack without Veinripper's triggers in themselves. I guess Denig has lifelink. They're activating their Plaza to give their Thalia hexproof and indestructible, fair enough. Could have Candy Grappled in response, but I'm going to just hold that back. Candy Grapple is lethal in itself because we can bargain away one of the 2/1s to do a whole ton of damage with Bloodletter. It's going to be a lot of triggers here as the opponent is go for the throating our Bloodletter because they had to sacrifice a creature, so that's 4 damage to the opponent. Veinripper's going to end up dying. It's going to be another 4 damage. Plus the creatures are going to be attacking. So a lot of damage at the end there against Esper. And that's how Veinripper can just take down games. Alright, on the draw here. Not a very good hand here. I don't want to be waiting to turn 3 to play anything. This one's much better. And still only got the 2 lands though. And I'm probably going to want a Corrupted Conscience, one of our Vraans. So unfortunately one of my favourite cards in Bloodletter of Aclazotz is going to have to go to the to the graveyard, sorry, to the bottom of my deck. Get my words out. Opponent with a Swamp and a Plains. And Norn's Inquisitor, not a card you see often. It's going to point to some kind of token deck or a Phyrexian deck. But yeah, we'll get Vraan down. It blocks their 1/1. They've gone for a Bloated Processor, okay. And we find Swamp. Gonna play our 2/4. It has Death Touch. And sometimes opponents are reluctant to attack into it, so we'll hold that back to defend, and we'll also hold the Vraan back there. We have Go for the Throat in case this Bloated Processor gets out of control. Opponent with a Sculpted Perfection to incubate twice. And to have a Lord effect for Phyrexian, so they're getting in there. Alright, let's go to block this Inquisitor. No doubt they're going to sack it with the Processor. Fair enough. So we take 5 damage from the Processor, and we can just kill that at any point. So I'm not too concerned right now. Attack with the Preacher here to make a 1/1, which we can Corrupted Conviction at any time. So we could do that now to see if we can hit a land drop, but I think I want to block with it first, and then sacrifice it, save some more damage from the Processor. Celestial Core here. And here come the Incubate tokens. So we can't actually take those out with the Go for the Throat, but as long as we can keep attacking with our Preacher, we should be able to keep making tokens most turns. And yeah, we can block the... I'm going to block their 3/3 here. Might sound a bit cheeky, but I kind of want them to sacrifice their 3/3 to pump up the Processor, and we can just destroy that, then take out 2 of their creatures in 1. We convict there, looking for a Swamp, so I really want them to sacrifice their 3/3. They chose not to. Fair enough. We'll use our Go for the Throat anyway on their Processor. Makes a 5 power Incubate token in the flanks, ready to come at us. Our hand is fine. Sorin here could make a 2/3, I think. And I really want a 1/1 on the battlefield. I'm just going to go in there with a Preacher here, so they can trade if they want to with Celestial Core. But I get the feeling they might not want to. No, they don't. So we get a 1/1 out of that, and we knock the opponent down to 14. So we need to whittle their life total down a little bit, because we have... If we can just try and find enough mana to get the Veinripper onto the battlefield. I kind of like where we are. We've got the opponent down to 12. Okay, Preacher of the Schism here. Alright, let's look what's on top of my deck. I'm hoping for land. It's another Preacher. Alright, well, I'm going to reveal that and draw it so that, fingers crossed, next turn we hit a land. So we do take a bit of damage from that, but again, I don't think we're dying anytime soon. We can kind of block for days. We have some lifelinkers available. Opponent down to 10. I was going to hold open the end, but gone for the Preacher. So I should have attacked with Vraan there, and then played a second copy of Vraan. Changed my mind halfway through that turn as to what to do, but shouldn't be too much of a problem. Okay, well, here come the Incubate tokens, and as long as we don't die here, we are potentially getting lethal next turn with a land off the top. We'll see how this goes. So opponent is tacking down Sorin. They're not actually posing lethal to me, so I don't actually have to block here, but I think I'm going to anyway. Just in case we don't have much we can do this coming turn. We do find a land though. Okay, so maybe that was a bit safe. I could have just taken the full damage there. I left our 1-1 on the battlefield. Okay, the idea here is either to destroy one of their creatures with the end, or drop the Veinripper. I'm going to go for the Veinripper. We've got the opponent down to 7, meaning that any creature that dies is going to drain the opponent for 2. That includes their own creatures. We've got a bunch of Death Touchers on the battlefield, so I think we should be good here. They can't really attack. Also, Vraan's on the battlefield. That's going to ping the opponent. And yeah, as long as we don't die ourselves, we should be good here. We can just block for days. And all these death triggers are going to mount up, and they should kill the opponent. Let's have a look. We go down to 11. Veinripper does its thing. Triggers on the stack. 12 damage, 14 damage. Plus Vraan, that's 16 damage, and opponent is dead. Okay, on the draw here. This hand's fine. Little cool trick with Beseech the Mirror is that if you get a chance to beseech away the skeleton created by Case of the Stash Skeleton, not only do you get to tutor a card through Beseech and pop it straight on the battlefield, but you then have the solve, where you then solve your case, so you can use it the following turn. Yeah, use your case the following turn to tutor up another card. But opponent with Izzet here, I'm just going to Candy Grapple that Balmor immediately. Don't really want them to have a counter spell or a way to pump it. And Kessig Flamebringer and the Phoenix Chick on the battlefield points to some kind of Izzet burn deck. So I haven't played an Izzet deck yet since Karlov Manor came out. It's something I want to do because I really enjoy playing Izzet decks. As we miss our land drop and we don't find it through Corrupted Conviction. Okay. I was hoping to hit a land there. Our hand's pretty nice. As long as we get these on the battlefield, we should be good. Well, we can take damage from these creatures for as long as possible. Alright, we find a land. They're holding up mana, probably going to counter whatever we do. And we can't double spell, so I'm going to play the most mana efficient turn in case they don't have removal counter spells. And they do. They may disappear, which is fine. Getting that out of their hand is not a problem. So, opponent here is holding open 2 cards. They have 5 mana open. We do find a land here, so we can double spell. Let's drop Vraan. Let's drop a Preacher. And hopefully Preacher's attacking can start gaining us back some life with the 1/1s it's going to create. They're hovering over our cards though. And they decide to Fading Hope our Preacher. Sure. But yeah, they're down to 1 card left. And just a Phoenix Chick attack this turn. Okay, that suggests they probably don't have any kind of burn in their hands. So let's Preacher here. Let's play the other Preacher. Get some board presence. Hopefully drop them out of cards completely, and then we can follow up next turn with a Veinripper. Or we can solve our case and find like a Bloodletter of Aclazotz. Opponent with a Swift Spear here. And are they just passing? Okay, they're going for a full-blooded attack. Well, that is raising all sorts of alarm bells, so we'll block where we can. Alright, Lightning Strike to our face. They do have 3 damage to our face. We go down to 7 because of the Flame Breather. Play with Fire to our face. We're going to go down to 4, plus the creatures are rumbling in. That's why we blocked, ladies and gentlemen, because we would have been dead there. We go down to 3. We are a Lightning Strike away from dying here. So I'd love to play Veinripper here, but we can't kill them. So I think what we're going to do here is play this ultra conservatively. We can attack with the Preachers to make some creatures, and at least we can get some damage through to our opponent. And then we can tutor a card here from Case of the Stashed Skeleton. And not a very glamorous card we're going to tutor for. We're going for Corrupted Conviction. So Corrupted Conviction on one of our tokens we're going to create with Vraan is going to gain us back some life. And I'm going to do that straight away. I guess we'll Candy Grapple away and bargain the token because we can take out their Phoenix Chick at the same time. But yeah, this gains us some life, so at least we're not dead to a straight up Lightning Strike. And then we can do that again this turn with Corrupted Conviction. Yeah, opponent scoops it up. Nice little win there against Izzet. Okay, on the play, I like to snap keep the Conviction and Case of the Stashed Skeleton. It's a nice little combo I really like to play. Opponent with a Plains, and we find a Candy Grapple, which is another great way to bargain away or to sacrifice the 2/1. This time to do 5, -5/-5 to an opposing creature. And it is Get Lost, okay. That is very aggressive against our case. So I'm going to go for Vraan here. We can tap the opponent. At the end of the day, this skeleton is now a 2/1 menacing creature. So I guess on its own, they're on a 9-turn clock here. Opponent with an Inspiring Overseer. Points to Angels or life gain. And I'm not going to Conviction right away. Let's try and get this Vraan up to 3 power so we can attack nicely. We can do that with our map tokens that our opponent kindly gave us earlier. Just a swamp, but I don't mind hitting land drops, so that is going to be great for next turn. And a go for the throat. Okay, well, we can attack the opponent here. The 2/1 has Menace, so they're going to take 5. And yeah, we'll just end the turn here. See what they want to follow up with here. So we know we've got go for the throat coming. So we can kind of just sit back a little bit here. Let the opponent do what they need to do and we can respond. Opponent with a Resplendent Angel. 3 toughness is going to be fantastic for our Candy Grapple. And they do attack, which is great because that means we get to attack the opponent next turn for 5. They have 1 mana open, so they could indeed have a protection spell here. But they don't. So yeah, we can attack the opponent here for 5. Question is, do we play the Roaming Throne? I am not going to. They're on 9. We've got Corrupted Conviction and Go for the Throat available this turn. Whatever the opponent wants to do, we can deal with it and then attack the opponent again next turn for potentially 5. We can Corrupted Conviction our 2-1 away to trigger Vraan as well. Opponent with a Archangel of Wrath. Okay, well, that's why we've got mana open, because we can sacrifice our 2-1 here, draw some cards, save that, we'll do 2 damage to the opponent, gain 2 life, and also counter the lifelink from the Archangel there. And they do attack. Okay, well, that was a great little attack for us, because although we go down to 18, we're going to go for the throat this Archangel here, and then we can attack ourselves for 3. With Bloodletter and the Conviction in hand, we should have lethal here. We can just drop a land, play our Bloodletter, attack the opponent for 6, and then we can just Conviction away the Bloodletter itself to do another 4 damage to our opponent. And yeah, sweet win there against an Angel life gain deck.